press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. I have only one topic to discuss today. My one topic is very, very important. And also, I have a very, very important guest with me to discuss that topic. Now, what I want to talk about today is, you see, the police force has never been in such a eye of the storm since independence. There has been a lot spoken about the police force, especially the Delhi police force and the Uttar Pradesh police force. A lot of it has been spoken about. Now, a lot of people say that, listen, the cops have absolutely disgraced the uniform. They have acted wrong. They beat up kids. And they beat up kids because they were beating them up because they were following their master's voice. They were following their political masters, and that is why they beat up the kids. Sad. A lot of people say, listen, you know what? Cops were beaten up too. So what? What are they supposed to do? Sit up and just take the beating? How can they allow violence to erupt? How can they allow violence to spread? So what they did. ठीक है, होता है. Now, the country is divided in two. While our views on CAA and NRC, we have made it very, very clear. Our views about the protest against CAA and NRC, we have made it very, very clear. So our views on that are crystal. But for a moment, let us keep the protest aside. Let's keep the cause aside for a moment. Because we have another very important point to discuss, and that is whether the police force in India today, are they goons of the government? The second point is, are we turning into a police state? कि भाई कुछ बोल दिया government को, the police will come and whack the hell out of you. Are we that? Or should we also look at it from a police perspective? And that's exactly what I intend to do today. Let us be fair. Because the truth, like we always say, is somewhere in the middle. And today, we'll deep dive to figure out what is the truth. Let's get right into the show. I have with me a person I consider to be a mentor, the former Director General of Police Maharashtra. Sir, welcome to my show.
Thank you so much, Sujit.
Sir,
it's an honor and pleasure to be with you.
It's always a pleasure to be with you, sir. What is exactly happening? What is the police doing? And is it justified what they are doing?
I have to start with some kind of a history as to how the police is behaving and why they are behaving in the given context. And then we'll have to divide the police also into geographical. There's the southern police, the northern police, and the UP police, and the Delhi police, and the Mumbai police, and the Calcutta police, and things like that. See, Calcutta police has a distinct flavor, their behavior. Delhi police has a different flavor altogether. Mumbai police is absolutely different. So if you can see geographical variations also we can see. So let me start from where from. Sir Robert Peel, when he made the Indian police and the British police, that was more people friendly, and they never had weapons, they had batons maximum and all that. And the same guy made an Indian police, and that is after 1857 or earlier, and then the police was supposed to be working under a colonial government against the people from whom they have been taken into the police force. So they behaved almost like robos. An order was given by the ruling government. We have to distinguish here from the ruling government and the ruling party. Now, both are merging also. Whereas the constitution says something to the police, the Indian Penal Code says something to the police, and the police training says something else to the police. And with all these things, when young IPS officers or policemen come to the field, they are told by experienced people, forget about the police training and the constitution and all that. What's happening here is this, and you behave accordingly.
let me go back to Delhi. Sir, what happened in Delhi? The way the kids were beaten up, black and blue, their hostels were invaded, their canteens were invaded, girls were beaten up, I am told. Is it justified, sir?
Again, I go back to my answer earlier. Our police continues to be the colonial police which were recruited by the British. The uniforms have not changed, the attitudes have not changed, their training programs have not changed as per the change which is happening elsewhere. So we are having a 16th, 17th, 18th century police doing police in the 21st century. So that is the dichotomy. That is the difference actually.
Sir,
then there is a problem.
If that's the difference, sir, I'm sorry I'm interjecting. Then why wasn't that same scene seen in Mumbai?
Exactly. I told you earlier that the ruling party and the geography and the sophistication of the people is reflected in the police force.
Sir, if that is the case, sir, the same Mumbai police had beaten black and blue during the RA protest. So what is common here in both the cases?
The ruling party is common.
Correct.
Whatever is the ruling party says that, I told you earlier, the constitution says something, the IPC says something, and the ruling party and the ruling government, these are all getting merged into one. We have to distinguish that the ruling party is different than the ruling government. The governments come and go, the police force remains the same, the constitution remains the same, and our allegiance has to be to the constitution and to the law. Sir. But what is happening is, how is it being broken? The police ethics or the moral superiority, how is it being broken? The so-called weapon of transfer. The police have divided amongst themselves that there is a lucrative posting and a non-lucrative posting. So your X post is this much, so I want to be there only all my life. And let the others, the lesser mortals in the police force go to, let us say, all unwanted places. If that is the attitude of the individual officers, their allegiance goes to the ruling party.
Sir, I will interject you once again. So what I am concluding, what you are saying, sir, therefore, is forget the constitution, forget the law, forget everything. It is all about the ruling party. What the ruling party says is what the police does. Okay, and you rightly said, sir, I'll just complete, you rightly said that it is because of the transfers, because of the promotions, because of the whatever punishments 36 transfers in 36 years. Yes. You went through 38 transfers.
I have gone through as many as 25 houses I changed in 35 years.
Correct. So to avoid your kind of a situation, people are now willing to do whatever the police want.
Not all of them. I must say, we can't paint the entire police in one brush. What I want to say is, the majority of the people whom we are discussing are falling into this lot. But there are lots and lots of good police officers who disagree with the government, who do what exactly is right, but then they get sidelined and they are there. They are the beacons. There are beacons.
Fair. Sir, the point still remains. We still talk about the majority of police force, which today, then, in this discussion, we understand that they are goons of the government.
Not necessarily. I will not agree to the word goons because I belong to the same tribe.
Correct.
I used to wear the same uniform once upon a time. What I would like to say is, the 95% of the police force is the constables and the head constables. Beyond that, they don't go anywhere. So they are the 95% of the people. They get their directives from their immediate bosses who are young people who have come out of the academies and trained and all that. They have been going to the spot, they have not been briefed well, they have not been taught about the ethics, the moral, how to treat children, girls, labor force and things like that. So that is where I will say the leadership is much more important. The leader has to give directions as to how. For example, controlling this Jamia Millat or Delhi or any other place, the leadership should have taken a positive role of meeting all these people earlier throughout the year, having connections with them, having some people amongst them who will be in touch with them at an intellectual level and coming to know what exactly is happening. Here what happened is, someone had triggered the whole thing in the Jamia Millat University or in Delhi or anywhere else, and the police went there and reacted as they have been trained. There is a mob drill where they throw stones and we only do lathi charge and then we show a red flag and then open the gas grenades and then open fire and maim them, kill them, whatnot. This is the drill. We can't do a drill in a Jamia Millat University case. There, I would say, the senior officers should have had a throughout the year contact with them and have cultivated them. We have the examples of Mohalla committees and community policing, Maitri police, and various things are there. Under one such banner, if they had only had contacts with them and they had held meetings with them and then they have softened them.
So currently, what you are saying, sir, what I understand is there is definitely flaw from the senior police management that they didn't control their forces right, especially in the universities, especially with children. Now that's number one. The second point that I wanted to ask you, sir, are you saying it is purely the police that was wrong? And there was, if I would say, sir, if I would say that the political dispensation called up the top cop and said, listen, you know, these guys are against CAA, stop this at whatever cost in 2 hours. You think this hasn't happened?
This is an extreme view which happens in the cinema, drama and theatre and things like that.
Correct.
I have never been told anything like that, and we did our own policing as per the science and technology which we have learned or we have been taught as per the law and as per the constitution. Nobody can call anybody and say that go there and do whatever you like, but it has to stop in 2 hours. It doesn't happen like that. But what I'm saying is the communication gap between the top leadership, let us say the Commissioner of Police, the Director General of Police, and the force which is working on the road. The Superintendent of Police or the DCP or the Commissioner of Police of that area, if it had a bridge between the students and themselves, before the agitation started, things could have been much better.
Sir, which you are saying, therefore, that the complete flaw of whatever happened in Jamia Millia University lies with the police.
I want to say something again on the side of police because I can't be speaking the other thing. No, I am what I am. I will say the truth. But the point is, if these people are being instigated by some other forces, when you say the Commissioner of Police is instigated by the ruling party and some top politician, what about the other people? They are also being organized by some unseen force. What is it about that? So we have to have knowledge about that. Who is behind it? Who is bringing science and technology for the youngsters who have been instigated to go and do all these things? They know the risk. Today, there can be lathi charge, there can be gas shells being fired or even opening fire. 144 is there, everybody knows about it. 144 was there in Delhi, Bangalore, everywhere. But they defy and go there and assemble and do exactly what they want. It doesn't happen spontaneously.
But if somebody else why didn't it happen in Mumbai, sir, then?
It didn't happen here because all the children told me, I know hundreds of them who participated. They asked me also to come and join them. And they said it is a non-BJP government. The Mumbai police behaved absolutely sophisticated and fantastic because they were told not to hurt us.
Precisely. So that's exactly my point, sir. So in Mumbai, they were told not to hurt them.
Correct.
And in Delhi, they were told to hurt them.
No, there I disagree with you. There, the Delhi government or the government of India has not given instruction to hammer them and beat them up. But it happened because the police force is ill-informed about it. I told you the mob drill thing. That there, I will say, the senior officers should have had a link with the students, should have had meetings with them, should have softened them, should have told them the truth of the matter. And then our police force should be told, when you deal with students, any party, any government there, we can say that when you deal with students, girls, boys and others, be nice to them. For the simple reason, they are tomorrow joining the IAS, IPS, they are joining the political parties and all that kind of thing. They are the future of the country. And when we deal with them, we can't be dealing with on behalf of the ruling party as on today. Tomorrow the ruling party changes. Then what happens to the attitude of the police?
So what you are saying is, I think it's a message you're sending to the police that, listen, you know, you need to understand that you have to go beyond your political masters. You have to also look at the society at large. You have to also look at, you know, your own uniform and what they taught you in IPS.
I am simply saying whether it is Jamia Millat or AMU or any other university, we have to have links with them, we have to have routes with them, we have to have bridges with them, we have to talk to them and we have to engage them in discussions. And there they are willing to discuss with the IPS officers and do that. But I would say again, that's the last resort for any police to go there and hammer the college-going children, because we have to believe that they are our children and they are the future of the country. Tomorrow they will be in the civil service or they will be in political field or whatever it is. We can't be dealing with them roughly today and expect different results from them tomorrow. That the police force has to remember.
So technically what you're telling me is what happened in Jamia Millia was wrong.
it is wrong.
Yes. Okay.
But at the same time, that could have been handled better, is what I would say.
Perfect.
Yes.
Now let's go to the next incident. And I want to talk about Meerut before I end my show. Sir, Meerut is, we have seen say situations where, people have been asked to go to Pakistan. I want to ask you a very simple question, sir. Sir, is police getting communalized?
Police is not getting communalized at all, because they are only reflecting the existing environment, and they are trying to be nice to the powers that be. And the same thing, if the government changes, the same officers and the same people will be behaving in a totally different way. As on today, this is what is appreciated and this is what is being done. So if some crowd is telling you something, I don't have to tell them, you go to China or go to Russia or go to Pakistan and all. That's not my job. My job is to deal with them as appropriately as possible. The CRPC says how to handle a mob: use enough force which is necessary. The minimum necessary force has to be used, but we don't have to shoot from the mouth and say that you go to Pakistan, you go to China. That's wrong.
Sir, so the police is basically, I will not call them the goons because you don't like it, but the police is an executing force for the political dispensation and people who carry guns and a lathi. So that's what a police is already. Because if the political dispensation is communal, police is communal. If the political dispensation, today I'm sure entire police in Maharashtra will talk secular because the government is talking secular. So is that what it is, sir?
I want to say that police is also human. They look up to these political bosses who are sitting on the chairs as on now for their postings, placements, progress, promotions and things like that. And they change the color as per the next dispensation also. So they are human. So I am not saying that they are all robots and they are all tuned this way and that way. They will be ever communal. Today they look communal. Tomorrow, if the secular people come here like today in Mumbai, they will all become secular. So this is a police force which is changing as per the environment.
As per the political environment.
The general environment.
Correct. So the police therefore is for the politician and not for the general people, which is what I wanted to communicate today.
I want to tell you, it is not for the politician, it is for the ruling government or ruling party. Correct. If you call it them as politicians, it's fine.
Correct. So it is correct. Absolutely, sir. I agree to you. It is for the ruling government, not for the general people. I mentioned
earlier that the ruling party is different and the ruling government is different. We take orders from the government because the government is supposed to issue orders as per the law. But at the same time, the senior officers have the power of disagreeing with the government and enforcing only law in the majesty as it is mentioned in the Constitution and the Indian Penal Code.
And senior officers like you who do that gets 25 transfers in 25 years.
It doesn't make any difference. I never made a grievance about it. 9 years after retirement, I am mentioning about how many times I was transferred. But it didn't make a difference. In third day, we vacated the house and went to Nagpur as many times as they have transferred. Point is, do we hold it against the government that I have been transferred? My opinion was, whenever I was posted in a place, I told people that if somebody can come and do better job than me, bring him. I'm willing to leave the job anytime. And I'm doing it because I've been asked to do it. If you can come and do better, you're welcome. If that attitude is there, this number of transfers doesn't make any difference. But I agree with you, your line of argument for a time, saying that we don't have to ingratiate ourselves like the SP Meerut, saying those words on record to befriend or be nice to the powers that be and go behave in more royal than a king. We don't have to be. We can stick to law and still be doing our work in a perfect way.
Sir, let's go further. What do you think is the solution?
The solution is to insulate the police force from immediate interference by the political parties and the ruling government, which is run by the political parties. For that, let us go back to the changing of the Police Act, that is 1861. So there is a Soli Sorabji committee in 2005-2006. They have given a model police act that can be studied by all the state governments. They can adopt. A few of them have tried to adopt that, 15, 16 of them. But all of them have to have a uniform model police act implemented. Then we have to go back to the 1996 case where 2006, the Supreme Court passing 6 specific orders about the transfer. That is an establishment of an establishment board for transfers of the policemen. and then the DGP should get 2 years tenure, which is the Maharashtra police doesn't implement, Maharashtra government doesn't implement. Then a state security commission and a national security commission and various other things like bifurcating the investigation and the law and order agency. All this have not happened. Please remember, unless we insulate the police, treat them with humanity, give them 8 hours job. Now they are doing 12 hours plus 2 hours, 14 hours job, and give them a little bit of a more salary. Take more officers than men and bring them at a young age where their brain can be manipulated to follow the rule of law. You can't bring at the age of 33 the men and then tell them that you leave your political color. So, unless we insulate them by following the Supreme Court guidelines and also doing various other basic fundamental changes in the way the police is recruited, trained and various other things, we can't expect any change in the short run.
Sir, thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you
so much for coming down. As usual, it was a pleasure.
Thank you.
So, two very, very important observations through this editorial. Observation number 1, the police functions as per the political environment. The political environment communal, police communal. Political environment secular, police secular. One can't see police out of the political environment that it operates in. Because finally, the political environment controls the entire force. Your career, your transfer, your promotion, your increment, everything is controlled by the political environment. So more often than not, police works according to the political environment. That's point number 1. Point number 2, I think, is something that is more important. And point number 2 is, I think, something that the government should take cognizance of. The Police Act was made in 1861. 1861, the Britishers made police to support the government, to help the government and control the people of this country. The police was supposed to be for the government and possibly against the people who are against the government. That is how this police force was made, this Police Act was made. Ironically, British went, but the Act stayed. And what you see today, where you say that police possibly acts according to the whims and fancies of the political master, is exactly because of that, because that act, the act in which police was made, states that, is that. So I think the most important thing that one needs to do is make amendments to this act, the Police Act. I think that is the most important thing that came out of this discussion. Because end of the day, we hope to be in a country where we feel safe that the police are around us, other than being scared that the police are around us. Till we meet next time, Namaskar.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.